I've always wanted to make a video about prototype sports cars. If you're into cars and motorsports and are curious about what makes these machines special in endurance motorsports, I'll break it down. So, what exactly is a prototype sports car? A sports prototype is a race car designed strictly for competition, not adapted from any street legal model. These are the most technologically advanced and costly sports cars built to maximize performance with cutting-edge engineering. Sports prototypes serve as development platforms for advances in aerodynamics, lightweight materials, and powertrain performance, often debuting features that may later influence future racing and street-legal vehicles. In sports car racing, race cars are divided into different classes, most notably the prototype and GT classes. Prototype classes feature advanced race cars that are built specifically for racing with little to no resemblance to vehicles available at a dealership. In contrast, GT cars are modified versions of road vehicles that people can actually buy. This distinction is crucial in major racing events like IMSA and the World Endurance Championship. While prototypes focus on ultimate performance and cutting-edge technology, GT cars emphasize their connection to street cars. Manufacturers participate in prototype racing primarily for research and development, using these cars to test innovations that may later appear in street cars. For example, hybrid tech in the Porsche 919 LMP1 has shaped the Panamera and Taycan. The FSI technology from the Audi R8 LMP trickled down to the development of the Audi R8 road car. The engine and chassis in the Ferrari 333 SP, which came from Formula One, have influenced the Ferrari F50. These prototype race cars are some of the most successful in the world. When the big sports car racing season starts, usually kicked off by the Daytona 24-hour race, people quickly start talking about the different cars that will compete, especially the prototypes and the GTs. Over time, we've noticed these cars are really different from each other. But how do we get to this point? Over 50 years ago, sports car racing was the primary focus of international motorsport. Separate from other forms of racing such as single-seaters like Formula One and oval track racing like NASCAR. In sports car races, there are usually multiple classes racing at the same time, so drivers can compete for overall wins and category wins. In the past, organizing these classes was much simpler than it is today. So, when did sports prototype racing start? It started after World War II. In the early 1950s, sports prototypes emerged. In 1953, they had their own official championship, courtesy of the FIA. But in the 1960s, they really took off. These cars replaced production-based race cars as the best on the track. As they improved, we got legendary machines like the Ford GT40 and Porsche 917 dominating the global championship and endurance races like Le Mans. Prototypes evolved through various FIA regulations such as Group 6 and Group C throughout the 70s and 80s, leading to the iconic Le Mans prototypes we know and love today. Endurance races like the 24 Hours of Le Mans drew large crowds, and big manufacturers such as Ferrari, Porsche, and Ford all wanted a competitive edge with their prototype cars. During this time, sports car racing was more popular than Formula One. The 1950s and 60s saw a debate over how much purpose-built cars should resemble regular road cars, which initially had to come from known manufacturers and include features like a spare tire and luggage space. As automotive technology improved and competition grew tougher, manufacturers began building highly specified experimental prototype cars designed mainly for speed, unlike the ones you would drive on the road. In the 1950s, endurance races such as Sebring, Le Mans, and Mille Miglia defined the World Sports Car Championship. Initially, there were no limits on engine size, but from 1958 to 1961, the FIA imposed restrictions due to safety and cost concerns. As prototypes diverged significantly from GT cars, rules came out. FIA set a minimum windshield height requirement to control speeds, costs, and the difference between pure prototypes and road-based race cars, leading to cars like the Maserati Birdcage. During this era, most race cars had front-mounted engines, a carryover from road car design. However, innovators began positioning the engine behind the driver but ahead of the rear axle, creating a mid-engine layout. This improved weight distribution and handling, and gained prominence after Ferrari's 250p with its mid-engine configuration achieved major wins at races like Sebring and Le Mans. Suddenly, countless car makers adopted the mid-engine design. During this time, some incredible prototypes came out, such as the Chaparral, Ferrari P-Series, Cooper Monaco, and Lola GT. It was a game-changing period that pushed the boundaries of what cars could do, especially with rear-engine designs and fancy aerodynamics that helped them go faster on the track. Regulations eventually divided cars into classes, like prototypes in Group 6 and production-based sports cars in Group 4 or 5, each with different rules on production numbers and specs. From 1966 to 67, there was a massive change. Car makers were allowed to build engines without size limits. It meant that the 7-liter Ford GT40 Mark IV arrived and dominated races like Sebring and Le Mans. But then the ACO in charge of racing wanted to help car companies compete on equal terms, so they decided to limit engine sizes again to just 3 liters starting in 1968. It made racing more about the pure speed of the cars, and they became much like the cars used in Formula One at the time. The FIA created a sports class from 1968 to 1971 with a 5-liter engine limit to include more cars and address the presence of 4 GT40s on the track. From 1970 to 1981, Group 6 class played around with the idea of hardtop prototypes and open-top 2-seater racing cars. Porsche got in on the action with their amazing 12-cylinder 917K, and Ferrari brought out the 512. Both of these incredible cars became stars at Sebring and Le Mans, marking what many consider the golden age of sports car racing. Group 6 2-seater racing cars of the late 1970s feature iconic models like the Porsche 936, a dominant force at Le Mans, and the Renault Alpine A44 2B, which once beat Porsche and was a runner-up another time. In the early 80s, the FIA introduced Group C for international races, while IMSA introduced the GTP class as its American counterpart. Think of them as cousins who look a lot alike but have different rules. Both feature high-tech and super-fast hardtop prototypes. Group C set a rule on how much fuel each team could use in a race. The requirement was to improve their car's efficiency by focusing on aerodynamics, using lightweight materials, and managing their engines effectively. In contrast, IMSA GTP imposed a minimum car weight based on engine size, allowing different engine types, including turbocharged, naturally aspirated, and even rotary designs. Iconic cars from this era included the Porsche 962, a dominant force, the Jaguar XJR, the Nissan GTPs, and the Eagle Toyotas. However, rising racing costs led to declining participation, ultimately ending both Group C and IMSA GTP by the early 90s. However, it was in an exciting era in racing. In 1994, the ACO, which organizes the 24 Hours of Le Mans race, introduced new LMP1 class regulations to replace Group C, which had been the dominant class for decades. At the same time, IMSA launched WSC prototypes, which are early LMP1 cars, and the FIA introduced GT1 production cars that eventually became prototypes in disguise. The new LMP1 cars were open cockpit with flat undertrays, shifting the dynamics of speed and ground effects. From the mid-1990s to the late 2000s, LMP1 cars underwent significant changes. They started as modified Group C cars. Later, regulations evolved into different weight classes, such as LMP 900 and LMP 675. You had some wild engineering going on, from the dominant Audi R8 to the Paynos LMP1 Roadster, which displayed a front-engine setup, something you don't see every day in prototypes. With more manufacturing entering, diesel engines and hybrid technology became prominent. Safety improved with closed cockpit designs replacing open layouts to better protect drivers. Now, we're in the exciting hypercar era, reminiscent of the classic Group C racing days. Along this journey, there were some key changes. challenges. In 2000, the ACO split the LMP class to level the playing field by balancing different car designs based on weight and power to compete for overall victory. They remerged the categories in 2004, reviving the LMP1 name, then rolled out those clever diesel engines in 2006, Audi R10 TDI, and in 2009, they added hybrid regulations starting with the Ginetta Zytec 09 HS. Starting in 2006, racing rules changed to favor hardtop design. These proved to be safer and more aerodynamic as proven by Peugeot. The classic open cockpit cars became less common over time, and as costs skyrocketed when things got advanced, many manufacturers decided to pull out. The LMP1 class eventually made way for more budget-friendly hypercar regulations from 2021 onward. These focus on staying relevant and being sustainable. While the open cockpit LMP1 cars were iconic in the early days, the class evolved to closed cockpit designs and powerful hybrids, which led to the current hypercar regulations. While NASCAR and Formula One are indeed two of the most popular motorsports today, sports car racing also has a dedicated fan base. Key events in sports car racing include the FIA WEC, IMSA races, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Sports prototypes played an essential role in this category and have been around for many years. They represent top-level racing outside of Formula One, highlighting a great combination of speed, performance, and engineering skills. I hope you learned a lot from this topic. If you did, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for some more motorsports content like this, and I'll see you in the very next one. Peace out and stay safe. Christheradar out.